Hello, everybody. We're here with, what are we calling this? I forget. The margins?
The margins,
The
yes.
margins. So we're starting off with a bang because we just came back from the Realm Makers Conference. And when I say we, I do mean Kristen and I because we were together finally.
Yay! Yes.
But we've got 6 tips for post conference follow up. So basically, we're going to be talking about what you do after you've gone to a conference, you come home and you get some sleep, and then you think, okay, what do I do next? Did you get sleep, Kristen? I don't know that I did.
I don't think I did, no.
Not much.
No, no.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm going to start off with the first 3 tips, and I'm going to be approaching them as someone who has gone to a conference and pitched before. So for me, that's been a couple of different pitches. I've pitched to agents and I've pitched to editors. And I've soft pitched when you're in like an elevator and someone's there asking you about your book. That's always a little intimidating. But this is more for I signed up for a pitch, and now what do I do when I get home? Kristen will be taking it from a different perspective. We'll get to that in a second. But my first tip is to make a plan. So you come home, you've been tired, get some rest first, like I said, and then hop into planning mode. The first and most important thing is if there was interest in your manuscript, make a plan on what you're going to do about it. So, a lot of the times, and we actually heard this at Realm Makers from a well known agent, he suggested, if you get interest in your book, do you send it off immediately or do you wait and refine your manuscript until the best of its ability and then send it off? And this all does depend on where you're at in your progress, basically, of your writing. Have you just finished your manuscript and it really could use a new edit, but you got someone interested because of your pitch? Well, it might be worth it for you to take some time and go back through that manuscript because an agent, and that's what this guy said, he's going to want to see it when it's at its best quality. And he'd rather wait a year than hear back from you versus, oh, well, they just sent it off immediately after the conference, but it's not as polished as it could be. So, whatever that looks like for you, make a plan, but you have to make that plan and then you have to execute it. And that right, that's the hardest part. But whether that plan is I'm going to have this go through more critique partners, or I'm ready to send in my synopsis, my first 3 chapters, whatever that looks like, then do that. My second point is go back to the board. Go back to the drawing board if you haven't gotten any bites. And that's okay. I met with multiple agents, one who is actually a little scary. That's a story for another time. But who basically kind of reamed out my whole pitch. And it was just like I sat there kind of like not knowing how to answer the questions that they threw at me. And I was just like, the fish with its mouth moving, like, I don't know, I don't know. And that's okay. So, they didn't want to see my manuscript because there was still work to be done. So if that was you and you didn't get a yes or a request or anything, that is totally okay. Hopefully, you've made some new friends at this conference, and we'll be talking more about that in another margins episode. But go back to those new friends and say, hey, would you mind looking over my pitch? What can you see that might be missing? Or reach out to someone who is already in your circle who maybe looked at it once, but you've changed things since then, whatever that looks like. Refine it and then go back into those trenches because we know it takes a lot of effort and gumption, but you're going to make it.
Yes,
And then,
yes.
thirdly, my last tip is to query. And what I mean by that is maybe if you were at this conference and you had some chance run ins with publishers or agents, and you felt like there might be a connection there, or even better, they reached out and said, hey, your book sounds really interesting. I might like to see it. Then follow up with that immediately. It's the best time right after a conference when you're fresh in their mind and you can say, hi, I'm Emilie. We talked in the bookstore area about my book and you said that you might be interested. I just wanted to send you a quick query letter to see if you might be interested in a proposal. Done and done. And you know what? You can ask and they can say no, and that's totally fine, but it's an opportunity, right? So make sure you make a plan you go back to the drawing board if you need to, and then you push those queries out should they be ready to go.
Those are such great tips, Emily. But what about for the conference goer that maybe went to conference but didn't pitch?
Mm.
So, fun fact about me, I've actually never pitched at a conference.
Lucky.
I mean, I haven't pitched in an elevator, in a bathroom. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do
Don't
that.
never pitch in a bathroom. That's terrible advice. Um, I've never had the opportunity to pitch at a conference. So maybe you're in that situation. Maybe you just came back from this amazing conference, but you didn't make connections. You didn't pitch. So what do you do then? So I have 3 tips for someone who maybe went to a conference and didn't pitch. The first one is you want to follow up on social media and with all the new people that you met, you'll be getting business cards, you'll be getting bookmarks. It's one of my favorite things. I like the business cards and bookmarks. I think some people are like going away from like having actual physical bookmarks or business cards. I love them. I save them. I'm pretty sure I still have my business cards that I got at my first conference like 6 years ago.
That's fun.
Right? I don't know why I still have them, but I do. I still have them. I love them. So go through all of these. Make sure that you're following your new friends on social media. You're signing up for their newsletters, supporting them that way. You're saying, "Hey, hi," because these are the people that are in the trenches with you, like you said, and they're the people that you can contact and call when you need a fresh pair of eyes on your work.
Mhm.
So make sure to follow up and um, with those connections that you received. The second tip that I have is use your excitement and momentum and your high from being at this conference with all of these writers to jumpstart whatever project you're working on. So I went into Realm Makers kind of a little, I don't want to say burnt out because I wasn't burnt out. I was just
Maybe
really
a little.
tired.
Maybe a little.
Maybe a little. I was just really tired and not really wanting to write. And just being around everybody, even though I'm not necessarily working on the same genres as they are, or the same type of book, just that high that you have coming back from something like that, where you get to talk craft and you get to talk plot and you get to talk story for an entire weekend. Use that momentum, use that energy that you have when you come back and hit the ground running. It's an amazing feeling. And then finally, and this is a fun one, create like a wrap up post for social media because everybody's taking pictures. You're taking pictures. My phone was full of pictures. Some of them were not even of me. It was just like, you're walking through and you're like, oh, hey, you need a picture? I'll take a picture. So create a fun wrap up post, whether it's a reel or whether, it's a carousel where you just, photo dump, tag as many people as you can. And that's another way to cement those connections that you made. And it even helps boost your numbers because people are sharing and they're commenting and they're following. So those are my 3 tips. Follow up with your new friends, use your momentum, excitement, and high to write or plot or plan and create a wrap up post for social media.
I love those. All right. Come back next week.
Yeah. Next week we'll have next week we'll have another in the margins episode for you. These episodes are really quick. They'll be anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how long-winded Emily and I get. The little bite-sized episodes that you can just listen to quickly. So until then, happy writing.
Bye.